Hey there, folks. Tito here with your Black and Gold Daily Blitz. I'm Jeff Thidahl. Follow me on Twitter @FitHappens. Make sure you download the free app. It's FanStream Sports app. It's free for Apple and Android users. Check it out. Lots of great programming being added all the time on there. Also, FanStreamSports.com. It's key. Go there. Like, listen, subscribe, all the stuff we would do with all of our podcasts. We appreciate it. And like I said, lots of great talent and new shows emerging all the time right here on FanStream Sports. Big game tonight for the Steelers. They are in Cincinnati for the Thursday night Prime game. Amazon Prime game will be broadcasting that one with Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels. And why it's a big game for Pittsburgh, to fall to 4-2 would not be the end of the world. They're 4-1 obviously coming into this game, but if they can get to 5-1 and have a 4-game lead on the Ravens, who I think is the only team that can possibly compete with the Steelers for the AFC North title, if they can get to 5-1, Ravens at 1-5 after their bye this week, that's a huge advantage for Pittsburgh versus being 4-2. It's also, we'll put another nail in the coffin for the Bengals season. And I know there's talk about Joe Burrow coming back, but every time the Bengals lose, it makes it less and less likely that Burrow will return. So, this game here with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, a couple interesting things about it. You got Aaron Rodgers, who is 41, going against Joe Flacco, the quarterback, former Browns quarterback, now with the Bengals, who is 40 years old. And it's only the second matchup, I guess I would say, of 40-year-old quarterbacks starting against each other. The other one happened 3 times in 2020 when Brady was with the Buccaneers and Drew Brees with the Saints. They played twice in the regular season, once in the postseason when they were both over the age of 40. So this is a second grouping of people that have done this, but the 4th time it has happened. So some of the keys in this game for Pittsburgh, they have to be able to dominate at the line of scrimmage against Cincinnati. And defensively, they should be able to shut down Chase Brown and put some pressure on Joe Flacco to make it harder for him to throw the ball to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Now, last week against Green Bay, Flacco did have some success doing that. I think he only took 1 sack, had no turnovers, which is a far cry from what Jake Browning was doing. So keep an eye on that matchup right there as well. The Bengals, it's about their defense. And will their defense play? Trey Hendrickson might not play, and that's a huge loss for them. They do get Shamar Stewart back. He's missed, I think, 4 games in a row with an ankle injury, but he has to play really well for them to win that game. And we'll see what happens. But if Trey Hendrickson's out, that further hinders Cincinnati's chances at winning that thing. I believe it's a hip injury is what Hendrickson is dealing with. So, look, I love Jaylen Warren in this game to have a big game as far as running the ball goes. The Bengals are giving up over 135 yards a game on the ground. They're in the bottom 10%. I think they're like 27th, 28th league in that. So I think you'll see a lot of that with him, and also with Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell is likely to get a few more touches he got last game, and we'll see what he can do with that. With Gainwell, though, and Warren will be the focus, I have to believe, on this team, on this game for them. So, couple things to look at, though. By the way, the Steelers, just so you know, they are 0-6 under Mike Tomlin when they've had a road game in the AFC North on a short week. They're 0-6 so far. But the Steelers favored by 5.5 in this one. I think the Steelers end up covering. Something else I want to keep an eye out for. The reason this is important for Pittsburgh. And, if you would say before the season started that after this game they'd be 4-2, I'm sure most Steelers fans would take it based on the schedule they had. But it's such a big difference now to get to 5-1, especially when you consider where the Steelers the next wave of games they're going to have. Because after this game, I'm looking at their schedule right now. They still have to play Green Bay. They get them in Pittsburgh, the Aaron Rodgers revenge game, if you want to call it that, whatever. I think it's a Sunday night game, if I'm not mistaken. And then you've got the Colts. You also have the Chargers, the Bills, the Lions, and then, of course, the Ravens twice. So all those teams, except for the Ravens, are either 4-2 or 5-1. And the Ravens one is the one's going to be interesting because they get Lamar Jackson back after the bye. It looks like they've got a bunch of guys that are hurt on the defensive side of the ball. So this game, Ravens will be watching because 4-2 versus 5-1 for the Steelers is a big difference for the Ravens as they start getting some of their star players back. Other things to keep an eye on. We've got the trade deadline coming up on November 4th, and I'm looking at the AFC North teams and who might be selling, who might be buying. I fully expect the Browns to try to sell off what they can within reason. I don't know if the Bengals will, depending on Hendrickson and where they're at. If the Bengals keep losing, maybe Hendrickson becomes a trade chip for them. I'm sure there'll be plenty of interest in that one. The Ravens, I think they will probably just kind of hold with what they've got. I don't see them making a big move, but the Ravens, I think they want to see where they can be when they're healthy and how well they compete then. Now, granted, if they get to, say, 1-6, 1-7, or maybe even 2-6, I guess. If the Steelers are still running away and get to like a 6-1, 6-2 type thing, you might see the Ravens then start to maybe sell off a little bit, but not much. As far as the Pittsburgh Steelers go, which is why we're all here on the Black and Gold Blitz to talk about this, the Steelers are going to kick the tires, I have to believe, on a lot of receivers. DK Metcalf's been great so far, but they need another number 2 receiver. They need a number 2 receiver that can get on this team. And I don't know if there's talk Chris Olave for New Orleans. That'd be a great get. I don't think that will happen. There's a talk about A.J. Brown as he went out of Philly. I don't think that will happen either. I imagine the Steelers will get a lower than that level, the next tier down, whoever that may be. But I could see them, though. They need another receiver. And my only fear is that they will end up letting Aaron Rodgers talk them into grabbing one of his buddies from his old Green Bay days who are probably over the hill and get them in here. That's my only fear on that, is that Rodgers plays a huge role in that, because if you look at what happened when Rodgers was the Jets and tried to get his Green Bay crew back together again, it did not work out all that well for the Jets. So keep an eye on that, though. November 4th is the trade deadline. I think the Steelers will be actively making calls. Not sure if they'll be able to get a deal done or not, but would love to see them at least make an attempt to upgrade the receiver position to get a better receiver behind DK Metcalf. As far as the number 2 receiver so far, it really feels like it's been Jonnu Smith, and Freiermuth has been an afterthought in the passing game, still an important part for this team, but has been a bit of an afterthought when it comes to receptions-wise based on past years. But we kind of assumed that would happen with Smith coming in. Keep an eye on the Steelers' defense. Look, Nick Herbig's got 4.5 sacks already this season to lead the team. He also has an interception. He and TJ Watt are going to look to get after it against the Bengals tonight in Cincinnati. We'll see what I think the Steelers cover. I think it'll be a fairly low-scoring game, but I could see like a 20-10 game, 23-10 kind of win for the Steelers over Cincinnati in Cincinnati, and just further extend that lead in the AFC North. That's it for the Black and Gold Blitz. Thanks for tuning in. Download the app, free for Apple and Android users. FanStream Sports app. Also, FanStreamSports.com, the other place to go. Follow me on Twitter, @ThatHappens. We'll talk again soon, hopefully after a Steelers win against the Bengals.